Welcome to the Horror and Gore Horror Movie Podcast, your number one podcast for all things horror. I'm your host, Big Goobs, and of course, I'm joined by my best friend here, Dakota. How are you, Dakota? How was your week?
I'm doing good. My week, not bad. I had an extra day off of work, so 4 days off, 3 days working. Not bad.
Nice.
How was yours?
It was good, man. Just girls are back in school, so I get some quiet time during the day. So just been relaxing.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Oh, and I also, if you guys noticed on the video, I shaved. I trimmed off the big bushy beard.
That was the big news of the week for Dakota. Yeah. But we definitely got a great topic today and some news to get into. So let's go ahead and start. This one
Before
just
the
came.
news,
Oh yeah.
we have watches.
We got some new stuff that we watched. So go right ahead.
I could go. Okay. So I watched three new watches this week. So I finally watched the original Toxic Avenger. Prepping up for the new one releasing in a couple of weeks. Then I finally watched 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Great crime thriller. Good. Francis McDormand's good in it. Sam Rockwell, Woody Harrelson. Then for my last movie this week, I watched Weapons, the new Zach Cregger movie.
Hell yeah. I had a few new watches this week as well. I started out and I watched a short film from the once MMA fighter, now turned writer-director Keith Jardine. I watched his first short film, El Paso 1155. It's about a 18-minute short film, like little thriller. It's pretty good, so it got me excited for his new feature film, Kill Me Again, which I'm going to watch hopefully this week. But then, after that, I finally watched Sisu, which is an absolutely brutal World War II vengeance revenge film. And it's bloody, it's gnarly, and you should watch it. Then, one of my most anticipated films of the year finally came to theaters, and that's Stuart Ortiz's Strange Harvest, the true crime mockumentary found footage style film that premiered at Fantastic Fest last year, finally got its release date, saw it, and it was incredible. Then I watched Weapons as well. We'll get into that a little bit later. Saw that in IMAX, first IMAX movie. And then the last thing I watched last night was a Chinese film called Escape from the 21st Century. It was like a time travel Scott Pilgrim mixed with a little Ready Player One style action and just over the top absurdity. And it was fantastic. But those are my watches this week.
Sounds good.
Now we'll get into the exciting stuff of the news. So I'll throw this first one out that just kind of dropped today that's been circling around. The Devil's Rejects 4K Steelbook is going to be released by Lionsgate on October 14th. And this is an Amazon exclusive. And that Steelbook art cover looks fantastic.
Did you pre-order it yet?
No, not yet.
To be
I
honest,
saw a lot of people throwing their pre-orders out there already, so people are excited.
To be honest, after this episode, I might have to pre-order. I got House of a Thousand Corpses Blu-ray Steelbook, and I got 3 from Hell on Steelbook. So that's the only one I need on Steelbook for the whole Firefly trilogy, like separately, not like the Walmart exclusive. They had a lot. Was it last year they had that?
I think so. Yeah, but that Steelbook looks fire, and that news kind of coincides with the next news. You want me to just lump them in together?
I can take the next one. I'm actually excited to talk about this one.
Do it.
So, connecting with this 4K steelbook, the 4K restoration that they're putting on that disc in that steelbook is going to be in theaters. 20th anniversary. Really shocking to think it's been 20 years since this movie came out. But this is brought to you by Fathom Events. So it will be released on October 6th and October 8th in theaters. And if my theater gets a showing of this, I'm actually going to go see this.
Hell yeah. That's a Monday and a Wednesday. So those are my days off. So I can definitely look forward to that.
I'm off Monday, so hopefully my theater shows one Monday.
Hell yeah. So yeah, I can't remember if I saw that one in theaters when it first came out. I don't think I did. But I am really enjoying them bringing back the old school, not that it's old school, but like the older movies back in the theaters like we talked about. So any chance that I get to see one that I want to, I'm going to try to jump on it.
Especially Rob Zombie, because I never saw a Rob Zombie movie in the theater before. The only two chances I had, I never took, but I was so younger. Much younger when I had those.
Yeah, I saw his two Halloweens in theater, and I think
was 3 from Hell theaters.
I don't recall. I think it might have been in theaters, but yeah, I think the only two I've seen is the Halloween 1 and 2 from him, which, I mean, those are some of my favorite films ever. So it was good. So I'm glad to see that this is coming out, and I'll check it out. But the next one we got has some news for the Pooniverse. As we have discussed in a couple episodes prior, me and Dakota are fans of the Pooniverse, and there's some upcoming news for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 3, and it actually has a new, it's going to have a writer from a movie called Color Out of Space, which is a cosmic Nicolas Cage film that's been on my watch list forever. But he is going to be taking the hands. Richard Stanley is going to be writing Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 3. So I'm excited that the third one is finally going to start getting some development.
And to be honest with you, I think only Scott and I forgot the other director's name. I think they've been writing these scripts out for these movies. So for getting somebody in, because I haven't seen Color Out of Space either. I heard that's like a Mandy situation, which I love Mandy. Especially where it's a Shudder exclusive Color Out of Spaces, to get somebody with that caliber wanting to write your movie is actually good. Like, props to know that your universe is actually doing good and people want to be attached to it.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering with this, because this is more of a this movie is more of a Lovecraftian, like body horror, supernatural kind of thing. I'm wondering if they're going to bring anything like that into the Pooniverse, some stuff like that.
I don't know if they will bring. Oh wait, what are you going to say?
Oh, just with him being, because he did Color of Space, he directed it, and he part wrote it as well, and along with the it shows also H.P. Lovecraft and others. So it's more of that cosmic horror. So I'm wondering if they're going to bring type of elements to the Pooniverse with that. Just wondering.
I don't know if they will bring the outer space stuff, but use of body horror. I could see them bringing some hot body horror into it, especially with these creatures being like They were little kids at the time going into the whole entire transformation of them into these animals, which they could actually show that.
Yeah.
Because we never did. We got the story in part 2, but we haven't did see it all, at all.
Yeah. So I'm excited. What we got next?
So up next, we got this is perfect where we're talking about weapons today. Mr. Austin Abrams, which he stars in Weapons, is Zach Kreger's first casting announcement for his Resident Evil movie, releasing September 18th of next year. So I don't trust Letterboxd, so I'm not going to say who I thought they have said. I'm going to ask you later on when we get into our spoiler part if I think this person, if he could play the certain person. There's 2 people I think of now when I think of his character, especially after watching Weapons. But we're finally getting news about this Resident Evil movie, and especially after what I thought of Weapons, which you guys will be finding out in a couple of minutes. I'm ready for this Resident Evil movie.
Yeah, I'm always down for some Resident Evil, and I hope it goes more toward the horror elements rather than just the action like the other series has been, but we'll find out. And then another piece of news here is that we got word that Final Destination 7 is now already in development. No plot details or anything like that next, but with the success of Bloodlines, we all knew this was coming. So it'll be interesting to see where they go from this, especially with how the way that Bloodline ended, and if they're going to kind of stay that route or where it's going to go. But I'm sure we'll get some news probably by the end of the year on where they're going.
I know the screenwriter of Bloodlines is writing the script also.
All right.
So they already got it. I'm not shocked if they don't fast track this for like a 2027.
Yeah. I wouldn't doubt it because, I mean, with it being 14 years from the last one to Bloodlines this year and how much it made, they don't want to wait. They don't want to wait for the next one. They want to throw that out and keep the strike while the iron is hot.
Do you think the directors will be brought back for it?
They should.
To be honest, remember my theory I told you about that we had in our episode talking about Bloodlines?
Mm-hmm.
How it's just a premonition. I'm not shocked if it was actually a premonition, and it's continuing the storyline of that whole thing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go from it because they have lots of avenues.
This is big news. Dream Eater, which was shown at the Unnamed Footage Film Festival, has got a studio behind it now. It picked up and has a theatrical release date. So the studio, which I'm wondering how long the studio has had a hold of this. And so the studio is the Horror Section, which is Eli Ross production company, which his first movie, Jimmy and Stiggs, is releasing this Friday. Mm-hmm. But perfect timing around that too. I'm not shocked if this trailer's not shown in front of that movie.
Yeah.
But he picked it up and it's going to be released in theaters. They say nationwide, but the way Jimmy's and Stiggs is rolling out, I think it probably won't be that much nationwide. But it's going to be in theaters on October 24th, so a week before Halloween.
Yep. And I know I've seen it, and it is fucking scary. So be ready for that.
What's weird is that they changed the ending to it, they said.
Yeah, there's been some reshoots. So I think the Horror Section has had it for a little bit, to where they were able to do some of the reshoots on there. And so I'm excited to kind of see where they go from the difference of it.
True.
But yeah, I'm super excited. Shameless little plug / news about it. The trailer, never thought in a million years that something like this would happen, but I actually, part of my Letterboxd review made the trailer in that. So I'm even more excited for the movie, and it just pretty awesome that it got backed, and we are now going to get a full theatrical experience, because it was scary as hell just watching it for the festival on the computer. Now getting it in theaters, it's going to be scary as shit. Speaking of fucking scary, the hype behind this next news here. So A24 actually gets the distribution rights to The Undertone, which is been circling the festival circuit, the Fantasia Festival. And it is written and directed by Ian Towson. I don't know if I pronounced the name right, but they announced yesterday, I believe, that A24 is now picked it up and is going to be distributing it. And that means we definitely are going to be getting a theater release on that. It's basically about a podcast host that they are listening to some videotape, audio tapes that were submitted in, and they're scary. That's pretty much all I've seen. A lot of our friends have seen it via the festival, and they all said it is one of their favorites of the year and one of the scariest of the year. So we'll probably be getting that sometime next year in theaters, I'm assuming.
I hope so.
What do you
I
think?
can't wait. I'm excited. I really wish I saw this. I'm really wishing that the next film festival that me and you gonna be what is it called?
Covering.
Yeah, we're gonna be covering has it, just to get more promotion out before.
Yeah. I'm gonna try. Speaking of that, with what we're going to be covering, I'm going to be trying to get. I'm going to be sending emails trying to get any movie that I can for it. So I hope that it is on there, because I want to see this one so bad and see what everybody is talking about, because everybody is giving it high praise about how scary it is and how good it is. So I'm ready.
I can't wait for it. Yeah. So speaking of more independent films releasing in theaters, a hit from South by Southwest, Good Boy, got picked up by IFC and Shudder during that film circuit run, and they have finally got a release date for it, and it's going to be released on October 3rd in theaters. October 3rd is actually good. We are eating right now. We got Shelby Oaks releasing the same day. Yeah. Great double feature.
Bone Lake as well.
No, that releases on the 24th.
No, they updated it.
Oh, they updated it?
Yeah, on Fandango it shows that it's the 3rd as well.
Oh, well, hell, triple feature right there.
The beginning of October is going to be crazy.
To be honest, think of that triple feature. You're going to get a dog looking for a ghost. You're going to get somebody looking for their sister, and you're going to get people fucking and killing. You got all emotions right there.
You got all the emotions, yeah. So it's going to be a great start of October. Yeah, I'm just double checking. Yeah. Good Boy, Shelby Oaks, Bone Lake. And then for that opening weekend on the 3rd, yeah, it's going to be crazy.
So you got the next piece of news I'm excited to talk about.
So the next piece of news, if this wants to finally show up, we got the new. I don't know if it's a. I think this might be the full trailer. It is the full trailer for him, the newly produced or the upcoming newly produced film by Jordan Peele and directed by God. Why can't I?
Justin Tippin.
Tippett, yes. And it looks crazy. I still don't even know what the hell this movie's really going to be about. It has some like occult vibes to it, / like Illuminati boule type feel, but it still doesn't give you a lot. I know this is one of your most anticipated movies of the year.
This is the most anticipated movie for the rest of the year after this trailer for me. I'm just absolutely excited for this. First of all, Jordan Peele attaches his name to anything he knows is good. He's directed 3 great movies. If you look at his producing filmography for horror wise or I would say non-comedy, Candyman 2021, absolute banger right there. Monkey Man, absolute banger. And he's doing this movie, and after this trailer, this reminds me a lot of what everyone says. Like, for example, if you guys watch sports, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, some of the greatest right now. Tom is the greatest, but like Patrick is one of the greatest right now. They have always said that they have sold their soul to become the greats, and it looks like that's what's going into in this movie. Like you said, kind of like some cult type of shit.
Yeah.
This movie's gonna be released in IMAX. Am I gonna see it in IMAX? Yeah. I think this will be really good. It looks gory. It looks brutal. And another great thing about this, Marlon Wayans, I think he's gonna give a great performance because I haven't seen him that much in actual like serious roles. He's always been more comedy of like white chicks and scary movies. And the other one's Tyreek Withers. I already had a feeling Tyreek Withers was going to be good, but after watching I Know What You Did Last Summer, I like him in it. And probably Madeline Klein gives the best performances in it. But after watching him in this trailer, I could tell that we need to watch for his name in the future because I think he's going to be one of those actors, especially if this movie does very well, that he will not only, I think, in the horror, but any movie he's going to be propelled up there into being in a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I agree. And I didn't know that was him until after I saw I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I was like, wait a second, that's the same freaking guy. So I think he's going to do good.
So for our next piece of news, which can I attach both of these together because you know how much I love this franchise?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So first off, we got the Nightmare on Elm Street finally 4K set. This is not the first movie. This is from the first all the way to New Nightmare. You can get a regular 4K with, of course, the digital codes, or on Amazon right now, which is sold out. I'm hoping they do a restock because I'm actually going to get this, even though I got them on DVD and the first one on 4K Steelbook. I am going to get this Steelbook set, Amazon exclusive, so be looking out for that if they do a restock on that. But with that set, they are re-releasing each of the 4K restorations like they're doing with House of the Thousand Corpses for each Nightmare on Elm Street each week, which I don't have a schedule up right now. If you guys will look probably on social media, when I clip this, I'm going to be putting the schedule right below so you guys know the schedule. But each week they're re-releasing these movies in theaters. But the only problem is they're coming to Alamo Drafthouse. So if you guys got any Alamos right near you, I think it started probably, what I remember is late August to probably October, around October. release each week. So go check your websites right now for Alamo Draft House if you guys are near one to see if tickets have dropped for these.
Yeah.
Pisses
I don't
me
have an
off.
Alamo near me. I don't have an
Pisses me
Alamo
off.
near me either.
Because I would want to see 1, 2, and 3 in theaters.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know why they stick it with Alamo, but
especially number 2, because I could feel like in the future they could do a first and like third like re-release for anniversaries, but no one likes number 2 that much, so they're not going to do anything to number 2, and this is the only time you could probably see in theaters again.
Right. Yeah. But we'll see. I'm excited that they're finally doing the 4K set. So, because I have the back in the day when they used to put like one DVD, one case with 4 of the movies. I have the first 4 in the on the regular DVD, and
Like
so
at
it'd be
Walmart.
cool. Yep, those
Yeah,
ones.
I know what you talk about. Yeah,
Well, I got tons of those, so it'll be cool to see the them all in the 4K and everything. So that's cool at least. And then our last piece of news, if you are a fan of the Sadness or comic books or a little bit of both, the director of the Sadness, blanking on his name, but he took the challenge of directing the movie that is now done filming, that is based off the comic book called Crossed, and it's one of the most violent, bloody, gory comic books ever. And they are making a movie adaptation, and it is done filming. Not sure when it's going to be released. However, I'm assuming it'll be sometime probably into next year. But we know what he can do with blood and gore, because the Sadness is absolutely depraved. And I'm excited for this.
Goose, you want to let everybody know what the villain is in Cross?
Oh, man, you put me on the spot.
No, not the actor, the actual villain. His name. Remember,
Oh, man.
it's Horsecock.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I want to know who thought of that. Be like in the room, be like, I'm writing this comic book. There'd be like a villain named Horsecock.
Yeah. I was like, wait a second, huh? I was like, I don't know any of the actors. Yeah. So I'm hoping they go as hard as, I know they won't go as hard as they do in the comics, but because like I said, you can't even show, unfortunately I don't have any actual of the paper comics, but if you look online, they're fucking brutal. And so I'm excited. But are you excited for our next thing we got going on, Mr. Dakota?
Yes.
All right. So we are actually going to dive into weapons. But first, we're just going to throw out our spoiler-free reviews. And then later on, we'll get into spoilers. But Dakota, since you just have it fresh in your mind, what is your spoiler-free review?
Okay, let's go. Weapons is Zach Cregger's second horror movie in his filmography right now. This is his 4th movie. Going into Weapons, only knew everything from the trailers. So to be honest with you guys, I want to tell you guys the tagline for this movie, because I think this has one of the best taglines in horror movie this year. So guys, look on the poster. It says, last night at 2:17 a.m., every child from Miss Candy's class woke up, got out of bed, went downstairs, opened the front door, walked into the dark, and never came back. That is that sends chills down my spine hearing that. And after watching the trailer, It's scary. I know a lot of you guys didn't watch the trailer. I know Goobs, like you, Colby,
Uh-huh.
Chuck, all that stayed away from this. I think even Ian did also. So knowing the little premise and what the concept of this was, going into this, after watching it, I fucking love this movie.
Mhm.
This movie, I like this more than Barbarian. I'm gonna say right now, I like this more than Barbarian. This movie takes a concept that we never heard of before. It's scary to think about this. And this, I think this is what I like about Kreger, because he took a concept like this, especially where he done Barbarian, a bizarre, out of this world concept, and he made it into his own thing. And what helps that is the acting. Josh Brolin, Julia Gardner, and even Benedict Wong, Austin Abrams. I forgot who plays the cop. He has played in a lot of several movies. They
Yeah.
all give great absolute performances in this. The only problem I have with this is that it kind of seemed all over the place a little bit. But on at first I thought that then once you get towards the end of the movie, I'm like, okay, I know why they're doing this, and they kind of gelled everything together. The score in this, the music, the score's creepy. The music I like.
Yeah.
Everyone knows about the tone shift. To be honest, I didn't see the tone shift in it. I didn't see a tone shift at all. I thought this thing had the same feeling from beginning to the very end. Because going into this, when you think of tone, when you guys said tone shift, because I'm the last one that watched it out of everyone. Besides, I think Ian hasn't watched this yet. Barbarian goes from really fucking scary to like a comedic movie. This I thought was going to do that. I thought it was going from like very scary to comedic. No, it goes from scary to fucking weird. Like really weird. And it's so I wish I could rewatch this again. Because that is that good. Like once the digital drops, like there's specific movies I buy for $25 in digital. This is the movie to be honest, I might pre-order this on digital.
Yeah.
This is how much I like this movie. Or I love this movie. But Zach Kreger's Weapons is, I'm going to say this, the second best horror movie of this year.
All
And that's all I have
right.
to say.
All right. So for me, spoiler free, of course, I will just say that this one unfortunately didn't hit for me the same as it has for a lot of people. Technically, like the technical standpoint, as far as the filmmaking, I think it's great. The cinematography, the camera angles, the shots, how it has this like dark and eerie, dreary feeling throughout the movie. It kind of hits with that mysterious plot line that we go through, because it does a good job of kind of just keeping you off of where we're going with this story. I will say that it's very good as far as keeping its reasoning that things are happening hidden, and keeps you going throughout the story. I will say the pacing did kind of get thrown off for me a little bit, where I thought that there were some characters that we didn't need to go too long into. But I think that's just a personal preference with me. I did enjoy Josh Brolin, Julia Gardner, as far as like their performances. They were great. I don't think I am the target audience for a Zach Kreger movie, just because I wasn't a fan of Barbarian. And this one is kind of like a middle of the road for me. It won't be making my top 10 of the year, but there are a lot of good things in this movie that I'll dive into that I enjoyed in the spoiler section. But there's also a lot of things that didn't quite hit for me that I'll touch in there. But I feel like I'm glad people are liking it. I'm glad that we're getting such original ideas in horror and that are being put on the big screen, because people will go see these movies. Everybody's talking about, oh, it's always, sequels, reboots, remakes, all this stuff. But we get some good ass original concepts, and I'm glad that we have them. Just they don't hit for everybody. But I'll go into further why later on. But that's kind of my spoiler free. I did enjoy the mystery aspect. I enjoyed the performances, the camera work, and I did enjoy, like I said, how this story progressed. I did think the pacing was off, but little nitpicky things. But we'll get into that in a little bit later here. But with our spoiler free, that's where we're going to end it. And we'll jump into actual spoilers within this movie. So if you haven't seen Weapons, go ahead and click off this, save it, and come back. If you have, stick around, and we're going to dive in. So I guess I just want to
start.
Oh, okay, you got something?
I want to start.
Go ahead.
Because, of course, this news. Okay, so back in 2023? Zach Cregger and Jordan Peele was up for the rights for this, and of course, Cregger won. Peele fired his whole team for this. If Peele won this, what do you think his movie would have been like?
To be perfectly honest, and maybe it's just me, and I guess I'll kind of just, I think Jordan Peele's movie would have been more, how do I say it? So with Zach Cregger, with this one, when we got to the end, a lot of it was very ambiguous, and one of those, like, the audience has to kind of determine what they feel this story is and the reasoning behind a lot of the things that happen through it. Now, I'm not saying that I want everything spoon-fed to me. This is what happened. This is why it happened. This is how, that sort of thing. But I would have liked a little bit more explanation on certain points within this film. If Jordan Peele did it, I feel like there would have been more of that, and there would have been a lot more of the social commentary that was put in there, and a lot more of the why and the wrapping up the story to where it's more of a conclusive type. This is what happened. This is why it happened. This is how, and this is how it ended, but not just spoon-fed. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because they're both two different style of filmmakers, and they both take creative stabs at movies to portray a story and to tell their story. One just seems to be a lot more of an ambiguous, like, hey, this is where we're at. What do you think it means? And the other one is, hey, this is what we touched on. This is how we touched on it. And this is how we wrapped up the story. So they're both great in that aspect of their style. I just think this particular mystery type thriller story would have been better. I don't want to say would have been better, but I feel like it would have hit a little different for me with Jordan Peele. What about you?
So this is one we'll go. I already like this movie. If Peele would done it, I don't know how Peele would done it. I don't know if he would change the whole concept, because the general concept of the kids leaving the house, I think Cregger done everything afterwards. I think the whole thing at the end, I think that's Cregger's idea. I think Peele would have had something different. I'm not shocked if Peele would have done some type of cosmic stuff with this to happen to the kids.
Yeah.
This is what I was thinking while you were explaining your whole Peele thing. Why you think Peele would have done this? Remember, Peele's release date was announced back in 2022, right after Nope was this Christmas, this past Christmas, right?
Yeah.
And it was 7 months. No, it was 5 to 6 months later. It was announced that he lost the rights, right, to Weapons.
Right.
I'm wondering if he won, we would got Weapons on Christmas Day this past year to go with Nosferatu.
Yeah.
Because you see how fast he lost the rights, and they moved the release date 2 years ahead, where he has to think of his own concept, except getting weapons right there, and he already has the concept. He just needs to write out the script. And
Yeah. I feel they definitely would have been two different movies. Definitely two different tones, and definitely. I don't want to say if you liked this one, you wouldn't like that one, or vice versa. I just think that there would have been a lot more. It would have hit a lot of different people's buttons, depending on how they feel about it and how they feel about Jordan Peele, because he's a very talented filmmaker. He's a very smart filmmaker. Kreger is a filmmaker that takes chances, that isn't afraid to get weird, that isn't afraid to kind of leave things up to interpretation.
So, I was going to also ask you, because if Peele got this whole entire cast would not be in this. Who is some people you think Peele would put in this movie?
It definitely would have been more of a, because I know he really likes,
Kaluuya.
Daniel Kaluuya would have been probably top. You probably would have had like a
who stars in Us? Lupita Nyong'o.
Yeah, could have had a Wilson Duke kind of thing. He definitely has his typecast, but I also think that he writes for his cast members. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like, he writes for his characters. So there definitely would have been a different dynamic, I feel like, with his version compared to Kreger's version. No less good or bad, but just different.
So if I had to pick, I'm going to throw certain people out there. I think Josh Brolin's role would have been Daniel Kaluuya. I think this is where I'm going to go. I think he brought Allison Williams back from Get Out. Mm-hmm. I think she could play Miss Gandhi.
Oh, yeah. I could see that.
The cop. I see. I don't know why. I see some dude playing the cop. Who was the boy from Nope? The dude in the little boy in the technician place with the cameras.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
He could play Austin Abrams' character of the crackhead. I could see him playing that. Yeah. It's so weird to think of how Peele's movie could. The whole end, to be honest, though, with the whole ending of the why this is happening and everything, I'm thinking that was Kreger's idea of it all, but we will explain that. And I think I will explain. You said you had a little bit trouble with recognizing, like, understanding the ending. I saw this with Mom and Dad, and they did too, and I explained it to them a little bit, and they kind of got a hang of it a little bit because I was picking up on it, especially the thing I thought it was, and I started picking up on things. I'm like, it's like checkpoints, and you get them right. I'm like, this is right, this is right, this is right, and the very last thing that happens in this movie, I'm like, this is the exact thing I thought it was.
Yeah, because with how this is, I guess the first, because the first thing that I thought that this was going at, because we basically open up and it's a voiceover narration from some other girl. I'm assuming it's a girl, but a child saying, this is the story of 17 kids going missing. Kind of gives you a brief overview of what the story is. And it just kind of jumps right into it and says, hey, 17 kids left their house at 2:17, not to be seen again. Alex is the only one left, the teacher. And then it kind of has this, I don't want to say mob mentality, but there's this small community that wants answers. They can't explain why things are happening or how things are happening. And then that's where you kind of start getting into each character. And I guess now I'll kind of tell you how I enjoy the non-linear type storytelling. I don't mind that at all. I think that because this plays out in chapters, it gives you one character's point of view, goes to another, and then it shows kind of how they wrap into each other. So I enjoy that type of filmmaking and storytelling. So it first brings you to the teacher, and the town is kind of against her. Like, why is this? Why is it only her class? Why is there only one left? Why? She had to have known something. And you get kind of this obsession and honestly fear of the unknown from the parents, such as Josh Brolin's character, because he's the main parent that is trying to harp on, I can't remember her name, Julia Gardner's character. Yeah, that she has something to do with this, and there's got to be something that she was involved with. And I like the dynamic of how they started this. The first part of this movie was great. It had great tension, great mystery, and I liked how it kind of started fleshing out a little bit of the character. Like, you realize that Julia Gardner's character she has good intentions with her class and her students, but she's not the best type of person in a sense of her personal life. She's an alcoholic. She kind of is a homewrecker that you find out later on in the story. And she has her flaws, but people try to use her flaws with something that totally isn't involved with this to put her that she was part of this. Like, Josh Brolin's character becomes super aggressive and super obsessed with her as a person, and puts it in his head that she knows what happened. She did this some way, some form, and it shows him being kind of an asshole. Yeah, I get his frustration with his kid going missing, but the characters aren't good people in this movie. You know what I mean? They're all kind of assholes in one way or the other. I didn't find myself rooting for any of these characters. Maybe Mr. Benedict Wong's character. He was, okay. Yeah. Alex, when you finally get to him, you're like, okay, that sucks. And then it starts kind of building. But that first part, it was building to this like mystery and this kind of mob mentality toward this, and dealing with like suburban, what's the word I'm looking for? Like suburban crisis, where a small town is dealing with this big thing that they've never dealt before. And you just kind of see the domino effect of how it affects people. So I enjoyed the first part, and it's kind of funny because I enjoyed the first part of Barbarian and the tension that's built and like the story that was going. I'll stop in this section with the first part and kind of, how did you feel that this story was going to be built with just the first kind of couple acts meeting the teacher and Brolin?
Okay, this is with linear stories. I thought of this with another movie, and me and you have the opposite directions from it, and that is 8254 Road. And linear stories tell us chapters. I knew as soon as this started with the chapters, I'm like, okay, this is where I'm like, I like that concept of it. To be honest, I kind of retract the messiness of the movie. I kind of like the stories a little bit, because one thing about horror movies, and it's done perfect with this, is build on the characters. A lot of horror movies don't build on characters. They come in, they want to throw some violence at you, some gore, some scares. And with this, you got to build up of, before you even go to the characters, this whole entire concept of like you said, the little backstory of the girl telling, like, this is a true story in our town, and at 217, all these 17 kids left Miss Gandy's classroom, and like, to be this is when the girl said this, that it was so bad in the town that they had to cover it up and forget about it. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, damn, how fucked up is this going to be turning out to for a whole town to forget about this whole entire thing?
Yeah.
But getting to like the buildup of, are we just talking about like the chapter of like Miss Gandy's character, her buildup right now?
I was just gonna say, yeah, that first little part where it kind of is setting up this mystery and trying to figure out like what happened between Gandy, Josh Brolin's character, and those. I just kind of wanted to keep it with them two kind of right now, but you can go however your thought process goes. I'm down.
So with them being the first two, I think it's really good because you kind of can see in this movie that these are going to be your two main characters for this movie, and especially Miss Gandy. This is her situation. This is her classroom. All of these kids are gone, and like you said, the town has got like a mob mentality to try to see who is. And like you said, Josh Brolin is like, sorry, the one dad who thinks that he can do every fucking thing to get his kid back. Like he can like literally like probably like shake her and get it out of her. But like she's telling the whole entire town, the town's getting mad, especially in that scene of the whole entire the town meeting at the school. It was like when he's telling her like, I want to know what from her, like she knows something. She gets up there and she's like, I don't have a clue, and everyone don't believe her, but you can't get see on her face like she actually don't know what happened to these kids. Like,
right?
You see, because perfect example what you said, like going into her thing, because we get like she's kind of like a homewrecker, alcoholic, and you see that with it's Aaron Allwright. That's who it is. Aaron Allwright's character of that. Oh, she called him in, like he don't want to drink, but she wants him to drink, and like she's there all the time because she knows it's bad when you know the bartender's name and everything. So you can definitely tell right there. And like the whole concept of when he's talking to Benedict Wan's character of Marcus, and like, have you seen her background? Like, no, it's not even. No, it's not that. It's Toby Huss's character of the sheriff. That's who he's talking to during this. Have you seen her background? Like, she got fired from her last school for being inappropriate behavior. Like, she's a DUI. Technically, there's your alcoholic, more right there. And Josh Brolin don't trust her whatsoever, and you could see it's wearing on him because he's sleeping in his son's bed every damn night.
Yeah, and they kind of give a little hint that it's ruining his marriage because when he's sleeping in the kid's room in his son's room, his wife kind of pops in with a face of that she's pretty much gotten driven out. That she's like, I'm going to work. And you could tell it's taken a toll on his marriage. His obsession is also taken over his job because he's making mistakes as a project manager for some construction company. He's making wrong decisions on paint and on building materials, and you just see this obsession growing and growing and trying to deal with the trauma and the grief and I don't want to say I guess grief. Yeah, the grieving process, because you don't know if he's going to get his son back. He doesn't know if he's going to get his son back, but he thinks he knows how he can, and that's by digging at her over and over and trying to get things out of her, even though the whole time she's like, I don't know why this has happened. I love your kids. I don't know what's going on. So she's kind of the town scapegoat at this particular time.
Yeah, 100% with that one. So, there was something else. I don't know. You kind of explained everything about Josh Brolin that I was going to continue on.
I got a question for you.
Okay.
When you're ready. So my first thought of this film when we were getting into, I want to talk about the dream sequence from Josh Brolin. Do you want to talk about that right now?
Okay. Okay. There's 3 jump scares. I really want to know. I wish, Kobe, if you're listening to this episode, you gotta text me which jump scare got you. There's 3 jump scares in these 2 sequences. There's the one when Julie Garner's looking around the house and she sees the 2 parents sitting there. That's the first jump scare. And I'm thinking the story of how when him and Grubby were watching the movie, they saw the dude jump out of the seat.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's it. The 2 jump scares that got me, and it's got to be one of these that got Kobe. It's the first one where she's looking in the bed, she looks up, and what the fuck was on the roof?
That was Aunt Gladys, bro. That was Gladys.
What was Gladys? Then, of course, Josh Brolin has the dream, which, oh my god, the dream of the machine gun above the house and it turns.
Yeah.
And it says 217.
So,
and the first jump scare got me. This would really creep me out of when he's looking at the thing and he's just like flash the light and glasses, faces right there, all the covered in makeup. I'm like, oh, who the fuck is that?
Yeah. Yeah, those 2 got me. The one on the roof and then the jump scare with Josh Brolin. Those 2 got me, and how he reacts after he wakes up. He's just like, "What the fuck?" Like I said the same thing. I was like, "What the fuck was that?" So that was good. But I wanted to tell you with that dream sequence when he's going. So in the dream sequence, he sees his kid. He sees him running out into the darkness. He's chasing him. He's running, and he kind of goes through the grass, and then he all of a sudden turns back around, and he sees his kid running back to the house. And as he's running back to his house, he sees up at the top there's a cloud form of like an AK-47 with 217 on the barrel section of it. When that came up, I thought this whole story was going to be more of an allegory for school shootings, because that's such a big problem that we have in this country for whatever reason. Just there's tons of them that we have in the US yearly. You know what I mean? So I thought it was going to delve more into that, because if you think about it, the grief through the town, how everybody's on edge, how everybody's blaming everybody. That's what you see in the news when these type of things happen. As far as, I mean, it's an unfortunate circumstance that you see these things, but you see the parents that have kids that didn't survive going at whomever they can to get answers and justice. Then you have Alex, the kid that does survive. And it's like, is he dealing with some type of survivor's guilt where he thinks he should have been taken as well, and he should have been, for lack of a better word, killed as well? Because we noticed throughout the film that Alex he gets put in a new class. He's kind of quiet. He's not talking to anybody anymore. He is just kind of go to school, take the bus, come back home, and that's it. So you're wondering, okay, is he dealing with some type of survivor's guilt and that sort of thing? So that's where I thought this was going. And I'm like, okay, I'm okay with this. But it put that there, and then it was done. There was no kind of continuation through that particular story. I think it was just thrown in there to say this could be an allegory for school shootings and the effect it does take on the community around it, and the devastation of victims as well as survivors and those sort of things. That's what I got from that dream sequence. What do you think?
I didn't really understand the whole entire thing. I'm like, yeah, that confused me a little bit. I'm like, but then we kind of get the concept later on of why it shows that. I didn't even think of that at all. I'm just thinking, why is there an AK-47 above this house with 217 on it? I'm like, this is the weirdest shit I've ever saw in my life. I kind of want to get into the next two people of Aaron Allright and the fuck what the Austin Abrams character.
Yeah, because I have some thoughts on these two particular sections
Aaron
as well.
Allright's character, fucking dick.
Can I just say one thing? This dude could have been his whole section could have been cut out the movie for me, and I wouldn't have cared. You know what I mean? I don't think he brought much of anything additional to the story. Does that make sense? Am I alone on that? Because I feel like there were or cut half of his stuff. Like he barely contributed it to how I was viewing the movie. Now, of course, it could be different for others, but that's how I felt. What did you feel about the pacing on the back half? Because I felt this was a little too long of a movie.
So with his concept, there's some stuff like this is one of it. Oh fuck. When they're at the bar and it shows them fucking, I'm thinking, dude, we kind of already know that they were fucking before with her segment. Yeah. I'm like, we don't need that explanatory right there.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why I fucking busted out laughing when this happened. When he's got Austin Abrams' character and he's got his handcuffed and he's like, "You got any needles? Anything to stick me with?" Oh my god, I kind of don't like needles. And when he got stuck, I'm like, "Oh fuck!" That went through my head. His reaction when he fucking punched him in the side of the head. I started laughing. I'm like, "Who the fuck punches like that?"
Yeah. I was like, God damn.
I'm like, this dude went from being a cop to an MMA fighter real quick. To be honest with you, I'll ask you, does Austin Abrams look like him? Chalamet in this?
A little bit with the longer hair and a little bit.
You know what he reminded me of? Oh, what's the Adam McKay movie? Don't Look Up.
Oh, okay.
He kind of reminded me of him in this. I'm like, if you had to recast Austin Abrams' character, you should just call Timothy Chalamet and see if he could play this role real quick.
Yeah. But this is the part where it kind of, I felt like, I did say one of the parts, and I think it's because I saw the behind the scenes after I watched it, with him, with the cop's character, you know, they're at the bar and she says, you know, have a drink with me. He's like, no, he kind of seems like he's somewhat in like recovery or something like that. And she's trying to pressure him into drinking it. There's another reason why Julia Gardner's character is an asshole. You don't do that to somebody who's that's in recovery. You don't try to force them to drink. But it shows after he wakes up from her house, you know, he gets back in his house because she asked, what about Claire or whatever her name is? And he's like, oh, we're not really anything right now. So Julia Gardner thinks he's fair game, which therefore that makes him an asshole also because he doesn't acknowledge the relationship that he's in right now. But it comes to find out that they're still kind of together and they're trying to have a baby and all this stuff. The part where she's walking in the liquor store and you kind of see this section where there's somebody behind her, but you don't know if that's like, you don't know who it is. You don't know what's the reason they're following her. and then she snatches her up by the hair and pours the alcohol on her, and it comes to find out it's the cop's like fiance or girlfriend or whatever. And she's like, "You fucked him, didn't you? You fucked him." And she's like, "No, I didn't." And it cuts to them pretty much. It didn't cut directly, but there was a cut showing that they definitely was fucking. So they're both,
I love that scene. He's like, "You want a drink?" He's like, "No, I don't drink." And just fucking.
and you're just like, okay. But the way that film was, that way that shot was that scene was shot, there was a dude on rollerblades with the camera following Julia Gardner around the liquor store. So that's why it looks so cool when it was going this way and around. A guy was on fucking rollerblades following that fast-paced shot around. So it was pretty cool. I think that's probably why I like it so much, because I figured out how it was shot. Like I said, the technical aspect of this film was fantastic. I thought it was great. I thought how it was shot, the camera angles, the especially when you get toward the end, it gets real like dark and dingy and kind of creepy. I did enjoy that part. But yeah, that was probably one of the cooler scenes to see of that.
Then let's talk about Mr. Austin Abrams' character, the drug addict, which this segment, I actually like the segment a little bit, because when he appeared, to go back, when Aaron Allwright's character told Austin Abrams' character of do not come back around at all, and he sees him at the police station, and it goes off. I just got chills to think about a scene that we're going to talk about later on. Just popped in my head and kind of freaked me out right there. And you see that cut, and you cut to Austin Abrams' character, and you see that he's a crackhead. I gotta stop saying crackhead. Technically though, but a drug addict.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And he's just trying to get money to get more drugs. And once he gets to Alex's house, I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, I know why the fuck he went over to the police station now. I'm thinking this motherfucker got in the house and found something. Yes, the motherfucker got in the house and he found something.
Yeah.
Oh, the parents sitting there, and he's just like, I laughed. He's like, "Hey, what's wrong with you?"
You okay? He gets right.
I start laughing like I can't handle it anymore. Then when he opens the basement, and that kid just turns around and looks at him, I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
But the problem is, you know who we don't see anywhere, which I think it's the whole entire thing of the whole reveal of it is that we don't see Gladys in his segment. No, we do. Yeah. Never mind. Not in the house, though. We don't see her in the house. It's weird we don't see her in her house. But once, because he runs out, he goes to the police station, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he sees the poster. At first, he don't want to go to the police station because he don't want to go there because of that. So he goes.
Yeah.
See Aaron's Allwright's character. They have a chase down. He runs in the woods. Oh, when he hops in the woods and he looks up and she's waving at him, freaked the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm like, where the fuck did you come from?
Right. Yeah.
Oh no! Did you have something?
She's a creepy bitch, man.
When he went into the tent and the person was opening the tent, I thought, oh shit, it's him. He stabs Aaron all right in the face. I think it poor. I think the dude got stabbed in the face. No, I get stabbed in the face.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's like, fucking. He gets in the cop car. He's like, "Do you have AIDS?" I don't think so. HIV, anything?
He's like, "What you mean you don't?"
Yeah.
Hepatitis. Like, he's like, I had no clue.
So like I said, that the back and forth between them two, like I said, I felt like it kind of parts of those segments could have been cut out and it would have still been effective because they were still an intricate part of getting into the house and kind of seeing what's going on. You know what I mean? And seeing that, oh shit, the kids are in the basement of Alex's house. And that was like the first reveal of where the kids are. And you're just like, okay. So they are important to the story, but they could have been like at least cut just a little bit. How? I don't know. I'm not a filmmaker, but that's just a nitpicky thing because I felt like a lot of the stuff was there for. It just made it a little too prolonged it a little too much for me because this is over 2 hours. I feel like if this movie was more around the like 145 range, it probably would have been a little higher for me. But that's just me.
If I was going to ask you the last half of Austin Abrams' segment of when they're in the cop car and they're sitting in front of Alex's house, and Aaron Allwright's character is not coming back out of the house, and you see him standing there, and he runs towards the car, and he pulls Austin Abrams' character out. Did you kind of already know that he probably something is happening in there?
Yeah, I was like, something happened. The same thing with the parents, because earlier when Julia Gardner's character is following Alex around, even though the principal tells him not to, she follows him to her house. She's drinking. She passes out, and then the mom comes out like walking all weird and shit. And so you kind of had a feeling that something was going on in that house. You remember that scene, right, where she falls asleep in the car and walks up like this with the scissors and like he cuts her hair and then walks away, and you're just like, what the hell is happening? Like, what is this building to? Dude, I thought it was over. Yeah, I thought something was going to happen, or there was going to be like a jump scare or something, but nope. She just got in the fucking back seat, cut her hair, and left. And I was like, where are we going?
The way she walked, she was like, it's like the Mr. Krabs walk.
Yeah, exactly. It was fucking weird. But so they found, that they're in the house, and like everything it's building up to like, okay, now they're in the house.
Because
the kids are in the basement.
It's the last person we have is Marcus, right? Before we find out the whole entire thing.
Yeah, because then it goes to Marcus because Julia Gardner calls up the principal and says, hey, there's something going on. We need to call like CPS to go check it out, yada, yada, yada. And Marcus is like, just leave the kid alone. But so then they call and they try to set up the meeting with the parents. This is when we get introduced to fucking Aunt Gladys, because she comes to the teacher's meeting or the principal meeting, and he's like, wait, who are you? She's like, oh, I'm their aunt. Alex's parents got real sick, and I'm watching them. And then you're just kind of like, who is this lady? What's going on?
You know what she is? She's Ronald McDonald.
Dude, a scary ass Ronald McDonald. So then that's our first like view of Gladys. And you're just like, what the hell? And then it flashes to after they have their first little parent meeting and whatnot. Then it goes to
his house.
Josh Brolin's, and then it goes to then I think it goes to Josh Brolin meeting up with Julia Gardner's character at the fucking gas station.
No.
And then
it's not that yet, because they're at the house. Marcus and his boyfriend, fiance, husband's at the house. Remember?
Well, it had Marcus coming out after Julia Gardner, and you're like, wait, what the hell happened to the principal? Because the interaction at the gas station happened between Josh Brolin and Julia Gardner's character, and they're talking. She's like, he's like, something, and she's like, no, you guys think I'm the witch, I'm the person. And she looks over and she sees fucking Benedict Wong's character, Naruto, running at him, and they attack him at the gas station. And you're like, whoa, what the fuck happened to this guy? And then does it go to Alex first, or does it go to Marcus? Then it goes to Marcus and showed. Trying to remember the fuck.
So it shows Marcus. I think what happens is because they showed the scene of Benedict Wong and Josh Brolin them like twice between Josh Brolin's and Julie Gardner's character scene. So they showed them talking to Gladys in the office. Then he shows to the house because that's first of all, who's eating vegetables, hot dogs, and chips and dip.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I'm like, because they're sitting there and they're watching the TV and they hear the doorbell ring and it's Gladys.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I remember I think I remember because it shows the clip of Wong with the face and you're just like, what the fuck happened to him? And then it cuts to him at the grocery store talking about leave the kid alone. We'll set up a meeting with the parent, and he meets Gladys at the school first. And then she says, I'm the aunt, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, well, we need to have a meeting with the parent and blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Then then it shows to her house. There's just that little clip of him attacking them at the gas station first. And then it flips to Marcus on the title card, and then she shows up to his house, so we get to see what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I went to the bathroom around this time because, to be honest, I knew who Gladys was. I didn't know I knew who Gladys looked like, and I knew her name was Aunt Gladys. So when I went to the bathroom, Gladys didn't show up yet. There's a cat in the back.
I can't do nothing with these cats, man. Yeah. So then, yeah, that's when. So it shows a little bit of Gladys and Wong's character in the meeting, and he's like, well, you're not the mother. Hold on. You're not the mother. You know what's no.
I want to explain to them real quick about what happened. So while Goobs is getting his cat down, so when I went to the bathroom, he's in the grocery store, right? When I came back, I already know whose Gladys looked like. I turned the corner, going back there, I see Gladys on the TV screen, on the big screen. I'm like, oh, fuck, it's her. I don't look up towards my mom and dad. My mom's face said fucking everything. It looked like who's this bitch on the screen right now?
Yeah.
Mom looked at me, she's like, I'm like, yep. And I just shook my head, yep, and just walked back right to my seat.
Yeah. Because this is where the story kind of starts going, where you start to see, okay, you have a little bit of where it showed Benedict Wong's character, Naruto, running. And then you see him meet Gladys, and you're like, okay, you're starting to put the pieces together. Okay, Gladys is something, right? But then they're at the house of Wong and his husband. And they're talking, and she shows up, and she's like, oh, can I just get a glass of water or some water? Husband invites him in. First off, bad decision. Should just shut the door, as he was trying to do. But they go in the kitchen, and she's like, oh, I'll get some water. And, he's like, get her a glass. And she's like, no, I'll take a bowl. Like, first off, red flag number 2. First red flag is you show up at my house on Saturday. Second red flag, you ask for a bowl of water.
I can see like a bowl of milk for like cereal, but a bowl of water.
Exactly. So then you get they get the bowl of water, and then you start seeing her put her purse down and start grabbing scissors, and you start seeing a twig of some sort. And while she was in the little, then it flashes back to them in the principal's office. She took a ribbon off of one of Wong's rewards or whatever, and she tied it around the thing, and basically she does this little ritual, and she wraps Wong's possession around him and pokes her finger, rubs blood, and snaps it. And that's when the motherfucker goes absolutely crazy.
The bill.
Oh yeah, and she breaks it, drops it in the water, and then rings the bell to kind of trigger this little spell. And that's when you start seeing his face kind of go, and he kind of gets basically possessed in a way. Smashes the shit out of his husband's face by headbutting him. That was pretty violent. I was sitting there going, God damn. And then the sound of it, you just hear, and you're just like, whoa. And he stands up, or she rings a bell again, and then
she drops the stick into the water.
Oh yeah. And then he's done breaking the husband's face with his head, and and then this is where the hair comes into play from Julia Gardner with that. She wraps it around and does the same thing. And that's when he starts running out the house. And then it catches us back up to us where he attacks him at the grocery store. And so it starts to build up to where, okay, there's something that, okay, well, who the fuck is Aunt Gladys, right? And this is where we get to Alex, if I'm not mistaken.
His death is brutal. Marcus's death is fucking brutal.
Oh yeah. So I forgot about that. So yeah, it continues into the gas station. They're chasing him, and then Julia Gardner's character gets out, gets in her car, and starts going. Well, Wong is, like I said, in this Benedict Wong's character is just in this trance.
Naruto.
Yeah, so he's in this trance. So he just starts chasing her and chasing her. Josh Brolin gets in his truck and starts chasing them. So they're going. And then you're just like, okay, what is going to happen? Well, he gets sideswiped by a goddamn SUV. It just gets obliterated.
To be honest, is that the fiance, girlfriend, wife of Aaron Eckhart?
I think it was. It was a blonde, that blonde chick. And so you're just like, oh shit. And then
he got mashed.
Yeah, smashed to shit. And then we go to Alex's character.
Because that's when they find the map. When he shows the they go to the hospital, they get their stitches patched up. Josh Brolin does. And this is when they meet outside, and he asks her, "Can I show you something?"
Mm-hmm.
And they get in his truck, and that's when he's like, I've been watching. He's like, my son, shows her the video, and then he's like, I got a map. He's like, this person from this classroom. She's like, yeah. He's like, well, if they're running straight in the line, this is where my son went. This is where she went, and he's like, this is what connects it. And this is when Julie Gardner's character is like, Alex's house is right there. That's where Alex lives.
Yeah.
And that's when you get the title card for him.
I almost forgot. Going back to Josh Brolin, he's looking at town maps, and he's trying to draw on the map and seeing how he can find out where they ran to. And then he finds a street, and he goes to another kid of their classroom. And they're like, yep, this is Bailey, I think her name was. Talks to the mom. The mom doesn't want to show the camera because they have a Ring camera also. But you remember this little cameo? Guess who Bailey's dad is? I almost forgot.
To be honest, I want to know something, because there's some barbarians in the same universe. Does Justin John have a twin brother? Two twin brothers in this? Like, is this dad the twin brother to the douchebag in Barbarian?
So this, honestly, I think this is the first time in a horror movie that Justin Long has showed up and he has not died. Because he just played that little part, showed the camera footage to Josh Brolin, and like, okay, and that's when he does his little thing in circles.
Technically, he didn't die in Tusk. Technically, he didn't die in Tusk.
I'd have rather died in Tusk. But, there's just, so he finds out where, in fact, these kids probably ran to. And then that's when Julia Gardner and them kind of team up in the Alex segment and say, yeah, that's where Alex lives. And then you start going into the backstory of Alex. normal kid, has a loving mom and dad. You know, it shows his dad picking him up from school one day, and they mention, hey, Aunt Gladys is going to stay with us because she's not doing well. She's ill. And he's like, I don't even know who Aunt Gladys is. And he's like, well, neither really do I, but your mother insists, and that sort of thing. And it kind of builds on who the fuck is Aunt Gladys, because even the Alex's parents are like, well, that's my mom would want us to do that. My mom would do this, so I'm going to do it. And he's like, well, she didn't even come to our wedding. We don't even know this person for the most part, but you're letting her in her house. And he said, oh, family, you just kind of have to do it for family. First off, fuck that. You don't got to. Just because they're your family doesn't mean you got to roll out your own house for somebody that you've never really spoke to.
True.
You know? And this is where I kind of had a problem, right? Because you see Alex, the first couple of days, it's normal. They're just like, hey, leave Aunt Gladys alone. She's asleep. She's not feeling well. And she probably won't even be here a month. And then Alex's dad doesn't come pick him up one day. And he ends up walking home. And when he gets home, that's when you see all the newspaper things blocking the windows and everything's covered. And you walk in and the mom and the dad are in basically this little trance. And this is when you see that Gladys is kind of the mastermind of this whole thing that's wrong with Alex. And the whole thing about feeding his parents soup, and she can kind of control the parents with just a little snap of the twig and the little blood. You know what I mean? Doesn't kind of go into who she is. It puts little pieces in there. Like, you know, she's like, I'm dying. I thought your mother and father were going to be enough, but I need a little bit more. And so it's like she's kind of sucking the soul out of these people to help herself in these little like rituals, because there's like a little tree that she has that's like dead, and she's trying to, you know, come back to life. I wish they would have kind of went a little more into, well, okay, is she a witch? How old is she? Like, why does she need? How does her doing these rituals help her feel better? And how does, you know what I mean? There was just a little. They threw a little bit at you, so you kind of had to interpret it a little bit. But I just wish there was just a little bit more there with Gladys. You know what I mean? Because she was kind of just there. You didn't know how she really got there, what her end goal was, or how she was planning on doing this stuff. And then, so that was kind of where I said that I didn't really like the ending execution. What did you think?
So I'm gonna pull this up directly. This is what I was keeping away from you right now. I didn't even tell you this. And I didn't put this in the news because technically it's a spoiler. So I'm gonna break the news before we get into this. Warner Brothers and Zach Cregger are already having talks about making a Weapons prequel movie about Aunt Gladys. So all your questions that when you would say that, I'm like, I really want to tell them this right now.
So okay, I'm gonna sound like an asshole, but why make a movie and have characters in the movie if it's just going to set up a previous thing? Like, you know what I mean? So I guess like, because there's a lot of questions that are being asked about this movie, right? And you're like, oh, well, we just put this movie out to set up the prequel to all your questions that you're going to answer.
So I'm going to say this real quick. One, I think this movie would not get made. I think it's going to get made, but this is why this movie's getting made. One, people are asking so many questions. and two, this has made $81 million.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
one is the money. Now with people seeing this now and having questions like you and a lot of other people, especially like us as horror people, like we always go see these movies, but a lot of general audience is seeing this movie right now because of the buzz,
yeah.
and a lot of people are just wondering about this, like who's this woman and everything,
Yeah.
because as a like as you know, my mom is a kind of like a general film audience goer. Like she goes every week to the movies with me, and her biggest question is like what's Gladys? It's like why is Gladys doing this and everything. And to be honest, my mom kind of wants a because we haven't she's not shocked if later on we get a sequel to this because this tree is not destroyed.
No.
Tree isn't destroyed, so that tree is still there. So I'm not shocked if they do the prequel. If the prequel does good, they do kind of like a Maxine, kind of like an X, how they did the
Yeah.
whole X trilogy. Like do this, do the prequel, and then the sequel we can do the tree. Because what about if this is just called like the tree trilogy?
Right. Because my thing is, and I guess we'll kind of, I don't want to say speed run through the third act, but this is kind of the most. This is like the least interested I was in the film, if that makes sense, because it kind of just.
I'm the opposite. This is the most straight out. I was locked up. Like
So you get Gladys, and you kind of understand the story. She has some kind of powers that she can kind of take over and kind of take their life force, and she can control them and make them, hurt themselves, kill themselves, whatever. So she kind of like blackmails Alex and said, "You're going to go to school. You're going to take the bus. You're going to come straight home. You're going to feed them soup. You're going to take care of them, right?" And and Alex is like, "Is that going to make you better? Is that going to make you healthier so you can leave and leave us alone?" And she said, "That was the plan, but your mom and dad aren't enough. So I need some more." And this is when it's like she's behind the kids disappearing. Alex is then therefore told, "Hey, I need you to go get something from every member of or every kid from your classroom and bring it to me." So he takes the name cards off of the little school supplies buckets and drops them in there, and then it shows her doing this type of ritual. And Alex is like, "Well, what are you doing?" He's like, "You'll see." Does this ritual at 2:17. She snaps it and rings the bell. Then you see all the kids run, or they go out on the front porch.
That
You go on.
shot,
They go.
I like that whole entire shot of them staying on the porch. You just see the kids running towards the house.
Yeah. Like I said, it was cool, and you're just like, okay. So she needs these kids to stay alive or to feel alive. Then it goes into showing, it kind of wraps back around from the front of the movie, because it was like Alex was being interviewed by detectives and all this other stuff. And then it goes to like what they actually were saying and how things were portrayed. Because they basically said, oh, their parents had a stroke, so Gladys is now taking parental things. And she was kind of the ringleader of everything. After the kid's gone missing, she's like, "You're going to get asked a bunch of questions. This is what you're going to say." And kind of gave Alex everything to do while she does all these rituals to try to feel better. But it kind of gets derailed by the freaking cop and drug addict showing up at the house. Then the Julia Gardner's character surviving the attack by Benedict Wong. And then that's where we're going to lead up to Josh Brolin and them finally realizing, oh, that's where Alex's house is. They ran to Alex's house, or so they assume. When they get there, the cop car's already there. And they're like, well, what do we do? The cop's already there. Like, what the hell? Then they're just sitting there going, well, what do we do? The fucking cop opens the door and does this like goofy little.
No, he does this.
Yeah, it's like
that shit creeped me out. That shit creeped me out. If anybody comes to the house and be like this, I'll be like, no, I'll get the fuck out here now.
Right? It was like a total NPC, just like, come on. So they both get up out of the thing. And Alex is in the house. She opens the door, and Gladys says, "Don't cross the salt," because his parents are at the front of her door, and there's a line of salt, and so there's obviously witchcraft involved. Josh Brolin and Julia Gardner come in the house, and they're trying to see what's happening. They see she sees the cop in the corner. She goes to approach him. She doesn't realize there's a salt line below on the floor. They cross, and this is where all fucking hell breaks loose. They cross the salt line, and that's when the fucking people, not only the cop, but goddamn the drug addict, start going after Brolin and Gardner. And they're kind of like possessed zombies. And you're just like, okay. This is when the fucking movie goes off the rail. Total off the rail.
Which, I love the part Josh Brolin, Austin Abrams. That's the funniest
dude, he
part.
Was throwing his ass around, beating him, throwing him, and he just jumps up, throws him. I kept. So I laughed and I thought it was funny and humorous. And I'm just like, okay, where are we going with this? But they're fighting and everything. And Josh Brolin gets knocked down and gets knocked into kind of the basement and looks down and sees kids. So then that's when he knows that they're there. All the while, Julia Gardner's almost getting fucking strangled by the cop. But she gets his gun out and shoots him, kills him, and then goes around and shoots and kills the drug addict. And then they look and they see all the kids down there. And while they're doing that, Alex upstairs crosses the line of salt where his parents are being contained. Therefore, they start chasing him, and he's making his move to try to get Gladys out, because Gladys is like in the room, nowhere to be found type thing. Then Josh Brolin goes down and looks at all the kids and finally kind of doesn't see his kid yet. He's looking, but then they go back upstairs.
No. They're still downstairs because they're doing the flashlight.
Yeah,
and
they're doing
when he sees Gladys.
This is where you see Gladys fucking hiding in the basement and jumps out, all while Alex is upstairs, and he's able to kind of trick his parents and maneuver around and get into the bathroom, Gladys's bathroom. Takes her wig and takes a stick of the tree, runs in the bathroom, and starts doing what he saw Aunt Gladys do. Stabs his finger, wraps a piece of hair that was in the wig, everything like that, and starts to do the ritual kind of himself upstairs. But then Josh Brolin, Gladys, and Julia Gardner's character are downstairs still, and I can't remember what they were. Can't even remember what they were saying.
Julia Gardner runs back upstairs, and this is when Josh Brolin comes out and nowhere attacks her.
Yeah, he attacks her, and because Josh Brolin got hypnotized by her and is basically fucking about to kill her ass. But all the while upstairs, Alex is doing the ritual, and then he finally pokes his finger, rubs the blood, and then snaps. And then that's when
bells ring.
and then rings the bell, and that's when Gladys knows, oh fuck, because Josh Brolin drops Julia Gardner, and kind of gets the trance. Or no.
He's still choking her. That's when the kids come out of the basement.
Yeah. And that's when fucking all 17 kids come out of the basement and start chasing this bitch around the fucking neighborhood. I was just dying. They're fucking like little zombies running through. She's running, and it just goes, her running to the fucking monstrous kids right behind her, jumping through windows, breaking doors, fences. It was so batshit crazy. And you're just like, oh shit. But Brolin is still choking the shit out of Julia Gardner's character. And you're just like, is she gonna die? Like, how is this spell broken, right? But they end up,
Alex is still trying to like stay in the bathroom because his parents are still trying to get him.
Dude, imagine being a kid and your parents acting like that and trying to fucking kill you, dude. Like, that's fucking terrifying. And so you get then, and then it flashes back and she's running, and finally do the lawnmower scene when the guy's just mowing his yard, and then he stops and he looks over and you just see Gladys running in between houses, and then the fucking kids slow right behind her. It was totally batshit crazy, which I didn't mind that, but the tonal shift kind of threw me for a loop in the sense of I was expecting this to be like this dark mystery horror, like kids missing, everything like that, and then this is what we get. At least we didn't get a breastfeeding man baby thing in this one, like Barbarian. But
I thought the lawnmower was going to come into play, like killing somebody. He just turns it off. I love it. I was bust out laughing. The kid's just going. He's like, what the hell am I? Is happening?
And then you get where the kids finally catch up to her, and they just attack her and end up just ripping her to shreds.
This brutal.
It was gnarly because they started like ripping her limbs off. Then the fucking
it's the eye gouging. Zach loves eye gouging for some reason.
Yeah, there was some eye gouging in there, and then it was the ripping of the face. They pretty much like ripped the whole face from hatchet stuff from mouth to mouth, or from jaw up, and then after they fucking just kill her, you see Josh Brolin drop her, and he's just like, what the fuck? And then he just follows the trail of all the broken glass and nonsense that, and
it's the house when he's running through, and the woman's calling 911. She's like, there's a woman and some kids running through my house. She's like, oh, there's a man in my house too.
There's a man. Fucking died, man. And then you get to where he finally catches up to the kids. They're all standing there looking at the body, just nothing. And then this is when Josh Brolin finally sees his son Matthew, picks him up. Then you just get this the same voiceover before at the beginning. You get the voiceover after, and it basically is the little girl saying, the kids were found. Some, basically that the kids are still like, I don't want to say vegetables, but they're not a lot of them aren't talking. They just kind of get their kids back, and said some of them even started talking, but not all of them. And then the movie's over.
No, the parents are not. The parents haven't gone back to normal. They're still back to the way. And then that's when they announced that Alex has to move to another county with a different aunt.
Oh yeah, and then a nice aunt. And then
so we think that it's a nice aunt.
Yeah. So we think, and then that's pretty much the end of this. And that's where I'm like, okay. I wish and now that you say that there's going to be like a prequel and stuff, I'm sure they'll button up all the questions. But like I said, I didn't think that it did enough to kind of button everything up. Yeah, you don't got to spell everything out, like evil witch grew up in the 1700s and blah, blah, blah. You don't got to do all that, but just a little bit of something of who this lady is and why she needed the kids and why is it that it didn't quite work.
Okay.
What happens after the spell is broken? Like, why are the kids still fucked up if she's dead, kind of thing? Like, they're still kind of brainwashed in the fact of where they're not talking and that sort of thing, That's where I was just kind of not annoyed, but kind of let down. That makes sense?
Okay, there's a couple of things I want to say. The witch thing, I already knew it was a witch. Like, everything, like I told you, like the things were stacking up. When she got ripped apart, I knew she definitely was because everything broke. Because in witches lore, you either got burn
them at the stake,
or they got to be ripped apart. And as soon as she got ripped apart, I'm like, okay, she's definitely a witch. She's a parasitic witch, and what I mean by that is, like you said, she wants that youth, and what she was going to do is she was going to kill all those kids and take their youth before they left, because she's like, Alex, we're leaving tomorrow. And what my mom thought was, I'm like, why would you take Alex? She's like, so she can get another group of kids.
Yeah.
Different school, take another classroom.
Yeah, definitely. And they were all, they did have, like, when they painted witch on her car, I'm like, okay, they just threw that out there. It was kind of in your face, so that's fine. And then they were also talking about previous parasites. What was it, ticks or tapeworms? Or they were talking about in the class. It kind of flashed where they were talking about
tapeworms. Yeah, they were talking about tapeworms.
Yeah, and so I get all of that, and that wasn't necessarily the problem I had. It was more along the lines of, why are the kids now? Did she drain them so much while they were tranced that they can't go back?
What about if it's a situation of Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah. So there's just a lot of questions in that aspect of it. And it doesn't make this a bad movie. I don't think this is a bad movie. I think it's actually a really well-made movie, but there's just certain things that I didn't appreciate. I didn't enjoy in the fact of what I was looking for. Do I know what I was looking for? Technically, no, but I thought it was going to be more along the lines of that social commentary on school violence and that sort of thing. I didn't think it was going to go directly into like witchcraft and stuff. But it's not a bad movie. It just didn't quite hit for me. But I know it's subjective, and you loved it. I know a lot of people that I've talked to loved it. It just, like I said, it won't be in my top 10 of the year.
So, I got actually a quick question. So, for the clip, spoilers, by the way, for weapons, give me your ranking of the characters in this. Just spit out your ranking, what you think it could be.
The last is the cop. That guy's a douche. Wait, are we talking like from like as far as like which character we liked, or what was the best one for the story?
So we're talking about your preference, like which one you like. So we're talking about so spoilers for weapons. So we're ranking like how you like them. So like from worst to best in your opinion of what you thought of them.
So I thought the best. So I'll just go. The best person in this movie was Benedict Wong's character, the principal. He was the best. He was trying to keep everything even keel. He was trying to make sure everything was best for everybody. Like, he was trying to keep the peace. Then I think it was Josh Brolin, because even though he was an asshole and trying to blame her for something that she obviously had nothing to do with, I felt like I don't want to say his heart was in the right place because he had such misguided hate, but he was trying to figure out what was going on with the kids by any means necessary. Then it was Julia Gardner's character because she was just trying to say, hey, I didn't do it. I didn't I love your kids too. Like, I didn't try to do it, or I didn't do anything. However, she's not a very good person either. She didn't help her situation with her decisions to continuously drown herself in a bottle every night and, that sort of thing. Then the last two, I'll take the drug, Austin Abrams character. He was funny. And then the cop. Like I said, I fucking hated that guy so much. His stupid mustache. Like, how's his mustache like way the fuck up here, by the way? Did you notice that? Like, fucking hated it.
So did
go
you
ahead.
Add Alex and Gladys into this?
Oh, I guess if that's the case, then Alex is number one because he was just unfortunate. I forgot about Alex. He's just unfortunately the product of his environment. He just had to do what he had to do to survive. And I felt bad for him, especially having to, feed his parents and deal with all that stuff. And now his parents are in a fucking home or whatever. Like, that sucks. So he's number one as far as like good characters. I think Gladys was a good character and a good antagonist. We just didn't know a lot about her. So she can go right under Julia Gardner.
Okay. So for me, in last place, I got Aaron Allwright's character of the cop. Second place, I'm gonna go with Nick One's character. I thought even though he was a good character, I wish we got a little bit more about him.
I can see that.
He kind of seemed like he was thrown in there. Third to last, I would go with Austin Abrams' character. I thought he was really good in this, but like he kind of like that he was thrown in there. Fourth is Gladys. I kind of want there's some stuff left off, like you said, with like her backstory, like with this if they do this prequel, might be a little bit higher on like a rewatch or something. Third, I'm gonna go with Josh Brolin. I thought he was really good in this, and his character and his backstory in this. Julie Gardner's in second place. Her character, Miss Gandy. I liked it where we saw her from everything of being kind and everything, but then you can see the flaws in her. Yeah. But number one is Alex. You had questions at the beginning about Alex, and you see his full story of this, and I think Kreger really done well with that whole entire his segment and the breakdown of his character. To be honest with you, I think there was like 40 minutes. No, yeah, there was like 40 minutes or 50 minutes left of the movie. That was just Alex until the very end. So he really honed in on Alex's story, which really tells the whole entire story of everything.
Yeah, he wrapped up the story with Alex for sure. And I had no problem with the story. Like I said, I like the nonlinear. I like how it was presented. It just started to feel kind of all over the place and like it didn't know what it kind of wanted to be. But that's neither here nor there.
And then my last question I want to ask you. So you didn't like Barbarian. You thought this one was okay. Does this bring your excitement down now for his version of Resident Evil?
No, because Resident, and this is going to sound bad because we just talked about original fucking ideas and stuff. With Resident Evil being an established IP and kind of having this is kind of what Resident Evil is. I don't want to say he's not going to go crazy with it because that's just his style. He knows where he can bring comedic relief and just batshit craziness. But I think with it being kind of an established IP already and kind of a general storyline. I hope he just hones in on the horror aspect of Resident Evil with the zombies and with that sort of thing. So I'm still excited to see that. These two original stories didn't take me out of that, but it's probably, like I said, just because it's already having its own established story, but he's going to twist it and make it his own for sure.
So for me, I haven't played the Resident Evil video games, but I seen Welcome to Raccoon City when it came out. I thought that one wasn't bad because actually when they went to the lore of the video game, actually brought on the characters, except like Paul W.S. Anderson that brought his own wife into it, made her a brand new character into it. So I'm excited for this. Like, I enjoy Barbarian. I love weapons. I want to see what his take on of this IP is for this. The question is, with Austin Abrams already attached to this, what character in the Resident Evil franchise do you think he will play?
I'm wondering if he's going to have him play. I'm wondering if he's going to be playing the bad guy. And why can't I? Wesker?
Oh, do you think he's going to be playing Wesker? There's two people. I think he could be playing. I don't know. I think they might pick somebody a little bit older for a Wesker.
Maybe.
So there's two people. I think he will either play Leon Kennedy.
Okay.
Or I could see him playing Chris Renfield.
Okay.
Because to be honest with you, I could see him playing Chris and him getting Julian Garner on to play Claire.
Yeah. I could see that.
And bring, like, to be honest with you, if he wants to bring Brolin on, because I feel like he's a person that could bring some older cast. He's like, I think he's kind of like a Jordan Peele. I think he would start bringing some. If you want to bring Brolin, the person I think of is William. Was it Birkin, the doctor?
Oh, the doctor.
I can see him. To be honest, with Wesker, I can. Ooh, what about if Wesker was Skarsgård?
I could see him being a villain because he was kind of like his character in was it John Wick 4?
Yeah,
is that it? Yeah.
The only good person he has played in as a good person I've seen is Barbarian. Everyone else, John Wick 4, he's a villain. He's Pennywise. Nosferatu, he's technically the antagonist of Nosferatu.
Right. Yeah, I think he's already been. I guess he was a good guy in Boy Kills or Earth or whatever the hell. He was like the main guy. But I didn't see that one yet.
He's a bad guy in Lock, even though he's trapped in a car.
Yeah. But
because he done the wrong thing.
Yeah, but I'm still excited to see new ideas. Like I said, I'm still going to go see the original horror ideas and movies and stuff. And even if I don't necessarily like them or they're just kind of okay for me, I'm still going to support new and original ideas. But any other final comment? Yeah.
It's not about the episode. It's about next week. So, guys, we're going to have our 40th episode next week. So the big 4-0. It's going to be a very good episode next week. I'm going to not tell you guys the episode. I'm going to leave you guys wondering what it is. But I'm just going to say it's going to be a really big episode. So it's not going to be a review or anything. It's going to be really big, especially for the podcast for the first time, especially for me and Goobs. So be tuned in for that, the big 40 episode. But besides that, I want to say this. I I know Goops is going to plug in everything in before we head out, but I want to leave off with this. Technically, we're on episode 39, but a lot of you guys know that have been keeping up with the podcast. There was some times where before I had Goobs on, I just ran the podcast by myself. So there were some times where I couldn't get episodes in, and of course, as you guys know, the hurricane hit down here where I lived. So there was all that time we didn't have episodes. But technically, in 3 weeks, in 3 weeks will be the 1-year anniversary of Horror and Gore. So for the 1-year anniversary, if you guys are watching on YouTube right now, we're sitting at 38 subscribers. If we can at least get up to 50 subscribers, so 12 in 3 weeks. So if you guys are new here, hit that subscribe button. But that's all I want to say, Goops. If you want to, you can. If you don't got anything else about weapons, you can close this out.
All right. So, like, subscribe. We put out episodes weekly. YouTube, we're on Spotify and Apple. If you like the audio version, give us a 5-star rating. If you like the visuals and like to see our beautiful faces, subscribe, hit that bell, drop a like. Also comment, what did you guys think about weapons? Let us know. But follow our socials on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We're going to be linked all down below. But hit that bell, stay with us. But like we always say, thank you for stopping by to the Horror and Gore Horror Movie Podcast, and we will see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.